My great inspirations years ago was Ray Hunt. And I think, such a great inspiration for so many horsemen of my era. One thing I loved about Ray, he was very direct and he just did what was needed and what was practical and moved on. Because he designed more of his style around a working cowboy, and working cowboys don't have months and months and months or weeks and weeks to perfect groundwork before they get on. They just need to do what's practical, do what's necessary, and then move on. That bit never really changes. Like, some things I'll skim over and some things I won't as time goes on. But that pulling up a girth, it doesn't matter what stage the horse is at. I usually take two or three stages to do that. G'day, thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, that would be awesome. Thank you. Cheers. I like my girth pretty firm, especially on a horse at this stage of his training. But I sure don't want to grab it and go all the way straight away. But even an older horse who's quite used to the girth, I still wouldn't do that because that'd be pretty impolite of me. So I shouldn't have to move when I lunge, and I needed him to go away. If I'd have sent him away when I did and he'd have turned in a hurry, I would have been in the firing line of his hind quarter in case he had a little issue. We probably got through all of that on day one, but you never know when he might try to test the system later. Or a flag on this guy is almost completely unnecessary now. Like we said, so this might be a bit of a skim. What is a little different, and it's worth going through, if I had a spooky horse that needed more work, the noise on the saddle can put a few off. So some horses will be good with things but not with noises. All of these things are you have to be very cautious. You do have to know what you're doing. If you got a major issue and you're very new to this, I don't recommend you do it on your own. You should have help, professional help, people watching. So I'm going to keep his head cocked towards me a little bit so that if he were to jump around when I did that, I had that rope ready to pull and take it away. Sometimes taking the extra time at the start will save you a long time in the long run. Like, sometimes we're too busy to do it, or do it right, or do it extensively. But sometimes taking a bit of extra time early can save you so much time later. Not to mention how much better the horse will be for it. So he's pretty cool, but I'd still just like to see him run around on his own. He's getting that casual today. I'm kind of got to really chase him to get him to counter. Good boy. But what's really cool when you compare that to day one. Day one I asked him to go and he went, but he was a little aggro about it. Now he's like, well, not really questioning it, but not really wanting to. But there's no aggression about having to do it. All right, let's get rigged up to ride him. But I don't want to stay in a round yard too long because the horses going round and round are going to get bored pretty quick. So this is a nice round yard, like it's a reasonable size, so he's got plenty of room to move around, which is a big deal. It's not an effort. Like, if it was a really small round yard, it'd be hard work for him to do that little circle. But it's nice and big, so it kind of encourages him to move forward, which is great. Always like to just rub around here and see how my horse is. He's obviously real cool. He's just keeping an eye on that horse over there, and I don't mind that his attention's a little split. He's not obsessing about it, and he's still paying attention to me. Yesterday we had a little trouble on the side with him. There we go. Flexing and moving his hip. That's good. Just want to make sure that's good. We're gonna, like yesterday we passengered a lot. Today we're gonna push him around a little bit more. When I say push him around, like bend and do a few of those exercises we've done on the ground on his back. Good boy. I'll throw out a quick opinion of mine on round yards too. A lot of people build a solid walled round yard so the horse can't look out, and they're less distracted. I've had one of those, and I've had one like this where it's half open and half shut. So obviously their legs are protected if they're running around. But I actually like the fact they can see out, because when I had one that was covered, and I had one that was about 6 foot or so, even little horses run around with their head up in the air trying to look over the top rail the whole time. Here they can still see everything that's going on. And I don't mind that. They kind of don't feel quite so claustrophobic. What's the number one thing I forgot at this stage? Put my helmet on. So I kind of mentioned, a few days, well, 2 days ago now, you can teach your horse to come out to you. And I can spend a lot of time working on it. And it depends a little on the horse. A horse like him, who I thought, is pretty cool. I don't have to obsess about that. He just did it then. Like it is something that'll come. On the other hand, if I'd had a horse who was catch, or, I thought mentally they just really were struggling with the whole having to deal with people thing, I would have spent more time doing it. G'day, thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, that would be awesome. Thank you. Cheers. Oh, I've been asked a lot, why one lead? Why not two? Why not straight into a hackamore and, have 2 leads for control? It's a little bit like I start out as a passenger and I slowly do more and more. And I make more and more decisions, and I take more and more control. I'm not getting up here trying to dominate him on day one and say, you're gonna go here and you're gonna go there. And sometimes you got 2 reins, there's a little bit more of that happens. But the other part is he starts to get it in his head, if the reine's on the right side, we're gonna go right. And it'll become more evident later when I start riding him out. It's going to be all to the right for a while, or all to the left for a while. If I take your head here, the first thing I'd like you to do is be soft. And then I'll put my leg back where I had my hand on the ground and encourage some movement. And he moves his hip across and take that leg and hand out. This leg's coming in the girth to encourage his front end to step over. So yield your hind quarter out of the way, follow your nose. So this is all come down to trying to make my idea his idea, long term, short term, all the time. With a horse bent around here and me drawing towards the middle, When I ask them to move, it's almost automatic that that back end's going to move. This front end's a bit cramped and that back end moves over, and then he holds it, and then I lead his front end out. It's kind of just a natural movement. Okay, I'm a little cramped, I've got to move. His bum moves and he kind of loads his weight onto that, and then I give him that opening and he follows his nose. Just bear with me for a second. If I had a horse who was really forward, I wouldn't have to ask him to go forward. That'd be happening. And while they were going forward, I'd be desensitizing and reassuring the whole time, and I'd end with slow work. A horse is a little bit more lazy and casual. Obviously the desensitizing comes easy. He doesn't want to go forward that much. So I end with fast work per se. So when you walk, trot and canter, you know, the trot and canter, the go forward bit is what comes last. So trying to encourage that lazy horse to go, well, if I do that bit, that's the end of the ride. So you've done a bunch of walking, bunch of desensitizing, a little bit of control work. Let's go for a little trot. This is really cool. There's one tap and I basically let it fall onto his rump. There's no real force in it. It just kind of fell on his rump. And that was enough to make him go. Kind of seems a little silly to be roping him under there and backing him up, but I'm still working on getting him to yield his feet backwards. So I put my seat where I back up, I put my legs where I back up, and I'm just pulling. So he's still learning about a seat position, as in this seat position means go back. So I'm obviously not pulling on his head to go back, but as we go along, you realize I'm not really ever trying to pull on his head to go back anyway. So it's super cool about that. Let's see how the canter goes. It's going to canter a little bit more than yesterday. Good boy. Good boy means stop, right? Which it means to so many horses. It's like, oh, people are usually happy with me when they say good boy. I did quit riding and did quit pushing, and the moment I did, he kind of stopped, jogged off on his own. I'm not going to kill that desire at the moment, because he could get lazy and he could get bored. So if he offers to go a little, I'll go with that. All right, go for a little lope this way. Oh no, oh no. So today there's a little bit more turning, and there's that little bit more cantering, or he said, do we have to keep going? I said, yeah. Are you sure we need to keep going? Yeah. Okay, that'll do. You know, I don't want to overdo it, but I need to add a little bit each day. You know, a good day, if he does a good job, there's no need to do a great deal. I want him to come here and feel like he's winning every day. It's a little bit challenging, but he's up to it and he gets through it. I don't want to necessarily do too much. Don't forget to go out and rub your horse. Don't pat him, rub him. Rub him here. Patting, he doesn't necessarily like. Rub him. Try to make him feel comfortable, because he is doing the best he can with the person he got stuck with. See ya. G'day. Thank you very much for watching. I do really appreciate it. This video of Gino's journey is meant to be more of a entertainment video, not educational, as in it's not a how-to video. All horses react and start differently. If you are going to attempt to start your own horse, you really need to enlist the help of a seasoned professional, or get a seasoned professional to do your horse for you and get them started. It's not an easy job, and it's not a job to be taken lightly, because this is your horse's introduction to the rest of his riding career, and it's really not to be messed with. So take it for what it is. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's been a lot of fun to share, and I really appreciate that you've taken the time to watch it and that you'll keep watching the channel. Thank you very much. Cheers.